woke is detrimental to law-abiding people and to society in general. Any thought system that wants you to turn off your discernment and to act as if everyone is good and no one is dangerous can get in the bin. Any thought system that wants you to pretend that dangerous people are not dangerous can also get in the bin. Bye. All right. What are we talking about here? Well, first of all, let me welcome you back to the Political Living Room. I am Karen. This is my living room, and we're going to have a little chat about politics. And we are looking at one Jason Billingsley. Jason Billingsley is being held right now in the murder of Pavel Lepere and also in the rape and arson against a woman and her boyfriend. He set them on fire. What a great guy. So what has this got to do with woke? Well, I'll tell you something. Jason Billingsley has an extensive criminal history. But because of an agreement in the government of Maryland that can cut sentences, extensive sentences, in half and then cut them even more, this guy was out in the street roaming around. Let's get right into it. Here we go. Oh, and happy spooky season, folks. New details emerge about the slaying of beloved Baltimore tech CEO, that's Pavel Lepere, and the suspect in her killing. Okay, let me just shift myself. There we go. All right, here we go. On Friday, Billingsley was captured on video following Lepere. She walked home. Lepere did not seem to notice the suspect, who kept a distance from her. Okay, first of all, it is very important to be aware of your surroundings and who is in them. This is one of the things that woke wants us to forget about. That since there's no danger posed by anybody to anyone at any time, unless, of course, they're cis, straight, white men, and I don't like the word cis, but you know what I'm saying. Unless it's a bunch of white Christians, you don't have to worry about anybody. Everybody is harmless except white people who are always out to kill you. You don't look white to me, but you know, what the hell do I know? All right, let's keep going. Lepere entered her apartment building's lobby, but returned to the front door after she saw a man, later identified as Billingsley, waving at her through the glass. And you know what? Not everybody belongs in your apartment building. Not everybody. Don't know them? Don't let them in. Their feelings are hurt? Their feelings are theirs to deal with. You do not have to manage anyone else's feelings for them. Keep that in mind. So, Billingsley appeared as though he was having trouble getting into the building, as if he had forgotten his keys. Well, you know what? There's a doorman, there's security. These buildings are all camered up, so I'm sure that some person who was responsible for letting people into the building could deal with him, okay? But again, he's not a white man, so I guess he's not going to kill anybody, right? Of course not. Okay, Lepere opened the door and let Billingsley in. According to the document, the two can be seen having a conversation before getting into the elevator. Later, the suspect is seen coming back into the lobby through a stairwell, scrambling for an exit after he killed her. Okay, let's keep going. About 40 minutes passed between when Billingsley followed Lepere into the elevator and when he left the building. Again, hurting somebody's feelings could save your life. You don't know if the person's feelings are hurt. You're better off being safe. Okay. When her body was discovered on the rooftop on Monday, police found several items scattered across the scene, including a pair of red shoes believed to be Lepere's. The document said she died of blunt force trauma and strangulation. Okay. So now this guy is being held without bail, thank God, citing his criminal history and the possibility of him being a flight risk. So, now check this out. Billingsley has been charged with first-degree murder, first-degree assault, and other charges in Lepere's death. He is also facing first-degree attempted murder, attempted second-degree murder, first-degree rape, second-degree rape, and first-degree arson. I mentioned that arson was committed against people. He didn't try to burn their house down. He tried to burn them down. Okay, let's learn a little bit more about this wonderful person here. How a violent sex offender, now accused of rape and Pavel Leper's murder, got out of prison early. I am just so freaking outraged by this. It is just ridiculous. So, he had been released early from prison, despite having a violent sexual past, a violent sex offending past, doesn't say that there, but that's what it was, that included a conviction for a sex offense. So, one of the things that is mentioned in this article, but we're not going to cover it directly here, meaning I'm not going to read it, is that he beat up girlfriends, and he has a pronounced history even before this. And yet, wokery and the need to coddle criminals, as only the wokes do, is what led to this woman being killed. Because if he had been in jail for his entire sentence, he wouldn't have been out looking for people to murder. Okay, so Billingsley's criminal history goes back to 2009 and includes charges of attempted rape, armed robbery, and false imprisonment. In 2015, he was sentenced to 30 years in prison, so he shouldn't have gotten out until 2045. You notice it's 2023, right? So he was in jail for 8 years? Damn. Okay, sentenced to 30 years after a woman told the police that he held her at knife point, strangled her, and forced her to perform oral copulation. In another article, I read that this woman was homeless. She didn't have a place to stay. She sat down on some steps. Billingsley came along, chatted her up, offered her a place to stay, then told her that she had to have sex with him if she was going to stay there. She said no. She tried to leave, and he engaged in this vileness with her. Okay. Under a plea agreement, however, 16 years were suspended. Just wiped away. 16 years of a 30-year sentence gone in a plea deal. Sounds like woke criminal coddling to me. So, Billingsley only had to serve 14 years. Then, in October of 2022, 5 years ahead of his scheduled release, he walked out of prison a free man. Wow. So hold on. So he only did 7.5 years of a 30-year sentence? Why wouldn't he do it again? Why wouldn't he do it again? For a guy like this, jail is the cost of doing business. 7.5 years off a 30-year sentence. He won. He knows that he's in a society run by idiots, and he can play those idiots any way he wants to. Let's keep going. Don't vote Democrat. Okay. Billingsley was let out of prison under Maryland's diminution credit system, a policy that allows inmates to reduce the term of their incarceration through such things as good behavior and completing educational courses. 38 states have similar programs on the books. So the majority of states in our country would do the same thing. It needs to end. It needs to end immediately. It is appalling. Okay. The violent, repetitive nature of Billingsley's crimes, however, have left many wondering why he was eligible for the credits and if he should have been released at all. Of course. Jesus. So, Baltimore's mayor, Brandon Scott, said, rapists shouldn't be let out early, period. When you rape someone, no matter if it's someone's daughter, son, wife, you should not get out early, period, for that kind of offense. Okay? So he's making sense there. But understand this. Before the guy even went to prison for the rape, the sentence was cut by more than half. Because this is what Democrats do. I am convinced at this point that Democrats want to see our society crumble. Because you can't engage in these kinds of policies, right, if you don't want society to fall apart. If you want your society to stay together, you want to keep the dangerous people away from the law-abiding people who are not dangerous. You don't want to turn them loose just to run about and do whatever it is they're going to do, because you know what they're going to do. They're going to prey on the law-abiding. That's what happened here. So the Democrats who put this crap in motion, possibly if they've got a lackey Republican or two, did they not know that if they put this guy out on the street, he's going to reoffend? Come on now. Okay, let's keep going. Days earlier, on September 19th, Billingsley allegedly raped a woman multiple times, slit her throat before dousing her and a man with liquid, then setting them on fire. This is a couple of days before he killed Pavel Lepere. This guy's a serial killer. But I bet there's some idiot, bleeding heart Democrat right now who wants to blame this guy's actions on racism or the white man. Okay. So Stacey Lee, a professor of law and ethics at Johns Hopkins University, said the policy makes sense in theory. The diminution credit, it makes sense in theory because prisons are overcrowded and understaffed. How are they overcrowded? We let people out all the fucking time. How is it overcrowded? I don't understand that. I have to learn more about that. Okay. But Stacey Lee says, if you are a violent offender, your access to the number of credits you get is supposed to be limited. Given Billingsley's past, Lee doesn't think he should have ever been eligible to receive credit for an early release. Of course not. Of course not. But, okay, now think about it. Think of it this way. If prisons are understaffed, right, that doesn't just mean that they don't have enough corrections officers. It means they probably also don't have enough administrators. So, if there aren't enough administrators at the prison or at the state level, right, whoever is responsible for administering this program is probably overworked or they're undertrained or possibly both. So it's going to go wrong because you don't have enough people or you don't have enough competent people. And then did I mention the woke? We live in a time where coddling criminals is what people want to do in Democrat-run states and Democrat-run cities. They want to blame white people for the actions of criminal black people when there were no white people around. Although, well, that's not entirely true. Pavel Lepere was white. But Billingsley did not kill her because the white man. He killed her because he is a sociopath. Okay, let's keep going. Under the current guidelines, criminals sentenced for first or second degree rape or sex offense against a victim under the age of 16, or various other sex offenses, are not eligible. An inmate who violated lifetime sexual offender supervision is also ineligible. So Billingsley should not have gotten out, and yet he did. Why? Understaffing, woke, and probably also a lot of people who just don't care. Just that, they're either not getting paid enough to give a shit, or they just wouldn't give a shit anyway. Just collect the check and tell me when vacation starts. Let's keep going. So here we are. We're back at this guy. So if white people are so dangerous to everyone, why is he black? Again, woke wants us to think that the only dangerous people on the planet are white men and occasionally white women, especially if they start crying. But say sane people know that there are people of all races who can be dangerous to you. And just because somebody's black and you kind of feel bad for him doesn't mean he won't kill you. All right. We are going to leave that here, and I will see you in the next video. Until then, happy spooky season, and I will see you guys later. And I am just learning how to use this Screencastify here. I am as tech savvy as I appear to be. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.